Hi everyone, I just wanted to make a quick video just summarizing some points from the Renters Reform Bill that came out on June 2022, so just last month. I thought it would be a good way to summarize a pretty long bill and for you to get the main points, not just the points that were advertised on the news that media thought would be interesting to people, but the actual important bits. So in terms of the legislation, it's voluntary. It's just a white paper, so there isn't actually anything in place or kind of any legal acts that have been passed. I'd also say that there's probably a lot of lack of awareness in terms of what the bill means and what it could mean for people, and I feel like I said that the wrong parts of the bill have been advertised. So let's talk quickly about no-fault evictions. So this is basically where landlords are allowed to evict or kick someone out and not give a valid reason. So good news, that has kind of been challenged, and now it's completely kind of almost, it should be against the law theoretically if they pass anything in the future. It should also challenge poor practice and unjustified rent increases. So I know anyone who's renting, they know that they've come across a lot of things, a lot of almost shady things that landlords do that aren't necessarily up to bill. So obtaining rent refunds for unhealthy or unsafe or poor quality homes. This is probably a really common one, especially in East London, because for example, in the borough that I live in, you get a lot of landlords. The demand is really high, but you also get a lot of landlords renting out properties that are completely kind of don't fulfill the basic requirements of kind of living. So for example, either they have like mice or some kind of infestation. They don't have like double glazing. They have like damp and rotting and stuff. They don't have proper ventilation. So these kinds of things are really, really common. So hopefully it will mean that it gets taken much more seriously. So the bill states that homes must be free from serious health and safety hazards. Landlords must keep their homes in a state of good repair with clean, appropriate and usable facilities. This is really, really key because I know that a lot of landlords don't do this. It ends arbitrary rent review clauses so tenants can leave poor quality housing without being liable for the rent. So again, it's very common for your landlord to ask you for the first and last months of rent and then also for a deposit. But obviously, if you're trying to leave somewhere where the facilities are in bad condition, the landlords will justify that as a way of not returning your deposit. So again, hopefully that should change things. Double notice periods for rent increases. So this is really key because usually you don't get much notice if the rent will go up. So having the longer notice period will probably make it a lot easier on people as well. Give council stronger powers to tackle the worst landlords and increase fines for serious offences. Again, this is a really key one because the more we make local councils accountable for landlords' actions, the more they would be taken seriously. Because right now, anytime you complain, like for example with my mum, the people that live above her, the landlord is very, very awful and illegally made two houses into one and has really kept his tenants in really like bad conditions. Like the ceiling has collapsed. There's been like leaks and stuff and lots of damage to mum's property as well. So and we've tried to get the council to do something and they basically don't have any powers to do anything. So hopefully this should change things. So in terms of giving you a bit of a perspective, it's around 13 million people in the UK who rent from a private landlord. More than 1/3 of private renters live with children. Again, so that's a really key one. About 46% of under 35s in England rent from private landlords, probably because they haven't been eligible to find a place otherwise. And nearly 230,000 private renters in England have received no-fault eviction notices since 2019, especially during COVID. Female-led single-parent households This is a key one as well. Made up a quarter of those threatened with eviction in England from 2020 to 2021. About 32% of those threatened with eviction were single adult males, which makes sense, usually students. So there are also some powers in place for landlords as well. Private renters ombudsman to settle disputes cheaply and quickly. Usually the procedure is to go through court, and nothing ever happens of it. Either court dates are way too long, or you just can never get the landlord to be, or you can't get the renter to end up and actually be in court. So hopefully this should mean that matters get settled much quicker and much easier. It means that landlords can efficiently recover their properties from antisocial tenants. Again, I'm sure in the UK we have a really big problem with squatters and people who rent places and then say don't pay the bills or something like that. That's what the case was with my place before I was renting it. So this way it gives more comfort and support to the landlords to be able to actually recover their properties. And then again, a property portal to help landlords comply with their responsibilities and tenants understanding their rights. I feel like this point is actually really important, but like I said, because of the way things are done and because there's not a lot of information about the whole procedure, I feel like this will really probably be just set down, and then no one else will just get it and then forget about it. But again, it's really important that we understand our rights, especially if our landlord is not acting in the way that they should be. I know that a lot of people are scared. They're not sure. Maybe they'll get in trouble with the government or something, but it's really, really important to be well informed about your rights. Otherwise, you just get taken advantage of. So the main procedures that have been advertised is that people who are renting can now legally keep their pets at home, because a lot of landlords have regulations around not allowing pets or animals to rent with them. So this is probably a good thing, because I know for a fact that anybody who's gone through COVID and who's got some kind of support animal, regardless of if it's just a COVID pet or if they have a service dog, for example, it means something to someone. And in a day and age where we live so isolated, we kind of almost look to our pets to provide us with that support, and making us feel good or bad, making us feel good when we're having a bad day. So I guess this is definitely a good thing, because for service dog owners like myself, it's fine. I never have to worry about it. But for other people, you find, like my neighbors, for example, they're not supposed to have dogs, but they do, and no one really says anything about it. But at least now it's kind of ratified, and no one's ever going to have any issues. Overall, in terms of the impact, like I said, in terms of their mental health, it's probably really good for tenants. But like I said, with everything in life, it's really important to be more well informed about your rights and what you're kind of entitled to. That's the only way we're going to move forward. That's the only way we're going to change things. So, and something as simple as being able to keep your pet with you, or allowing your landlord allowing you to have pets, is really important, because as somebody who has personal experience of having a service dog or a pet, it really kind of brings you up. It makes you feel like it's a healthier way of dealing with your loneliness and isolation as well. So, and also it depends on the legislation and the regulations and what's going to be kept up in terms of by the borough, because some boroughs might be more lenient, some boroughs might really track down and make sure that they follow the rules and procedures. And again, none of this will ever be confirmed if there isn't actual laws and procedures and acts that get signed into Parliament. So I hope you found this useful. Let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully I'll see you soon.